Hey, so I wanted to make a follow-up to my previous video where I was talking about frequency, the state of the wish fulfilled, and feeling good, and how they are basically all the same thing. And I wanted to just, okay, so in this community, one thing that I've seen over and over again with people that, you know, are talking in comments, talking on forums, talking in videos even, is that you don't have to feel good in order to get what you want. And this is not untrue. You don't have to feel awesome all the time about your life and every aspect of your life in order to get something that you want. I felt very down about myself and my prospects of ever being fulfilled or happy during the time where I was creating huge amounts of wealth. But I felt great about money. I was broadcasting the frequency of money for sure. I felt like it was natural, like I was meant to have that. I felt like, hey, at least I'm going to have this good thing. And you know, it's right there in the phrase, the state of the wish fulfilled. Feeling fulfilled is not feeling miserable. It's the opposite. Fulfillment is one of the best feelings that there is. So the state of the wish fulfilled, by definition, is a state of fulfillment. It's a state of feeling good. You know, Neville Goddard says, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? That's a good feeling. That's feeling good. Neville Goddard is saying, feel good. But okay, so the question really comes down to, how the fuck do you do that? How do you feel good? You know, when you don't feel good, how do you feel good? And so Esther says in her videos that the fastest way to do that, the fastest way to raise your vibration or to feel better is to meditate. And if I had heard this 5 years ago, I would have been turned off immediately, because I have done traditional meditation many times. I've made serious attempts to make a practice of sitting for 15, 20, 30 minutes, you know, focusing on a point. And actually, I didn't hate it, but you know, I didn't love that form of meditation. But really, all meditation is quieting the mind. So whatever route you can take to get there is the route to take for you. And if you're not willing to spend a little bit of time thinking about what that might be for you, or trying some things to see what works for you, you know, you don't have much business being in this area. You have to be willing to make at least that much effort. You really have to. I'm sorry. If nobody else will say this to you, I will. You can't just lay, or please don't let anybody in the Neville Goddard community tell you can just lay around and things will get better. You're going to have to make some mental effort. What might be something that quiets your mind is driving around in your car. Calms your mind is another way to put it. Driving in my car is incredibly meditative for me. I've described it in that terms. Walking, going for a walk, a long walk that is intentionally like an hour long or 2 hours long, and just, you know, that action of the body being occupied, and, you know, sort of doing a healthy thing that we know has physical benefits, lowering cortisol, lowering stress hormones and stuff like that. That for me is very meditative. It just clears my mind. That's when things come to me. Also, I've mentioned this here before. I'll link to it again. I do this yoga nidra, which is essentially a guided meditation where you just lay there and you listen to a person guide you through the awareness of your body. So, you know, just telling you where to put your awareness on all the different parts of your body. For me, my friend Tim Grimes was like, I'm getting nothing out of this. He also said, I think he didn't like meditation. I was really surprised. I'm like, everyone's going to love this. I don't know why. I loved yoga nidra. I still do. I do it anytime if I get out of the habit of ever doing it. There's like months that go by where I don't do it. And then I start doing it again. I'm just like, you idiot. Why'd you stop doing this? It's so huge. It's so, it's just so relaxing. And if you start thinking in terms of vibration, you start thinking in terms of vibrational frequency, I swear to God, if I turn into one of those gratitude Karens, just kill me. If you start thinking of, everything in terms of vibration, you start thinking, sort of just thinking what level of, what's my frequency right now? Where am I vibrating at? If you just like imagine a scale from just like depression to elation, and just imagine, where am I floating on this scale right now? If you're somewhere in like the upper 3/4, that's probably pretty good. I mean, upper quarter, above 3/4. If you're above 75%, if you're in the 75 to 100 zone, you're probably doing pretty good. I just try to, when I come out of that yoga nidra, which I fall asleep in like half the time, when I come out of that, it's in that zone, and it will stay there. It'll stay there unless and until some 3D thing happens to drag it down, at which point you rinse and repeat. But that's another, that's a meditation. Yoga, doing yoga, like, the exercise form of yoga, the mainstream form of yoga, does that for me. When I would, this is why I got so interested in yoga, like 5 years ago. I would go to these really like simple classes with my aunt, who's obviously much older than me. And I just went to just like spend time with her, and because I was in good shape already and I was kind of interested in it, I was so amazed at how I felt leaving yoga. They weren't very physically challenging for me, and I've always looked at exercise as something that was like exhilarating that I would get into and feel like kind of pumped about, and leave my cardio session and put on like some AC/DC, and I'm just yoga, just leaving yoga, doing this very simple practice of simple poses that weren't too strenuous for my body. First, I was kind of amazed at how it had felt like I worked out afterwards, but then also just this high vibe, this like frequency. It was really amazing. So that was another thing that I do. I just set myself up a yoga studio, which I'm excited about, outside of my house. I was like, a month ago or something on here, I was saying, man, I really need to move. My house is too small. It turns out that I really just I kind of prefer having a space where I actually go and intentionally do something. So set myself up a little yoga studio, and I'm doing that now too. And that's another form of quieting the mind. And you will find, like Esther says, when all of the thoughts, like the thoughts are what are dragging the frequency down. If you can quiet all those thoughts, like the negative thoughts, the things that are coming from a lower place, when they're just off, it's an automatic rise. So I know this isn't going to speak to a ton of people. I don't know that it would have spoken to me 5 years ago. I really hated the idea of meditation and the idea of vibration. I'm like, okay, well, that's one way of talking about it, but it doesn't really speak to me. It is speaking to me now, and so I'm speaking it to you, hoping that it coming through a much more distorted human voice will make sense to some other people that aren't like quite, we're not all vibing with Abraham at this point. Whatever. Anyway, so I hope that made sense, and have a great day.